Welcome back to another episode of Once Upon A BnB. It's Ann's.
Oh, we're going this way. All right, it's Ian as well.
We will never get this right. This is also Maha. One day we're going to nail the intro.
Recording back-to-back episodes today. So
I know.
maybe,
next episode.
And we have a back-to-back, well, not back-to-back.
A return guest.
A return guest.
It's Precious.
Yes,
Welcome back to Once Upon A BnB.
Yes.
You were one of our earlier guests, pretty early on.
I think I can't even remember. Was that last maybe August or September? I think it was before. It was before all this craziness. So it definitely was pre-September because we were about to talk about something that happened in September. So it had to be July, June.
It had
either
to be.
way.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm happy to be back.
Welcome back.
Happy to have you back.
I mean, I'm happy to be back, but I'm unhappy about the story.
It did mean
The story, right?
something shitty happened to you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, for those that didn't see the first episode, just give us a quick reminder of who you are and how you're involved in the short-term rental game business.
Yes. So my name is Precious Price. I am a real estate entrepreneur here in Atlanta, Georgia, mainly focused on short-term rentals and accessory dwelling units, a.k.a. tiny houses. So I have been in the short-term rental game for about 3 years now in terms of corporate leasing, houses, rental arbitrage, and all of that, and then tiny houses about a year. So at this point, we are getting more so into how can you put more people in tiny houses? Because I have a tiny house. So yes.
So cute. I have to ask. I know you're probably going to go into it, but have you seen the viral reel of the Home Depot home and
I heard about
and
that.
They converted to the tiny house? Okay.
Yes, everybody, literally, people like Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart even has them now as well. So at this point, tiny houses are kind of here to stay. Some people thought they were a fad. Some people thought it's people are just trying to sell you a dream. No, seriously, because at this point, y'all probably know we're running out of houses and we're running out of land.
Yeah.
I've heard bad things about the ready-made little or tiny houses or whatever. They're saying you think it's a deal, but you have to do so much to it once you get it. You got to run plumbing and electricity and this and that and permits and
tiny pipes.
It's a house.
Tiny wires.
People think it's just a playhouse. It's okay, I'll just go buy it and I'm plopping it in the backyard. No, it's a real house. You got to connect things, plumbing and all of that. And some of them actually have it standalone. But it's so many different options, I would say. I think the best piece right now, at least, and what's making it so attractive to people is because you can customize it. It's really for you. So if you want something that's stationary, you can do that. If you want something that's movable, you can do that. If you want something that don't connect to your main house at all, you can have that too. Mine personally connects to my main house, but I know somebody who they have a tiny house on wheels. And, you can just move it. Just get it moved.
I didn't realize yours connected to your house. I think last time you were here, you were just finishing the tiny house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just finishing. Oh my God. Okay. Now I do remember when it was. It was about April, May. I was just finishing the tiny house. And the tiny house has honestly been amazing, done amazing. It's been a little over a year since we've been renting it. It's made over $25,000.
Oh, great. So it's already paid for itself.
Exactly.
Much, right?
Basically,
tiny
for the
house,
most
big
part.
profit.
Right.
No, for real. So, but at this point, I would say, with where the housing market is now, I've definitely transitioned more into longer term stays, not long, a year, but longer term stays.
A month or 3 months?
Month to month, 3 months. I'm working with business professionals and travel nurses now, just because right now it's a lot of that housing, when you really start to look at it, right? And I knew this going in, but with the housing market changing how it is in the last couple of months, I'm I don't want to continue being a part of the problem. Right. And the problem was, especially with how Atlanta is now, this is why we're seeing so many new regulations, people having to have these licenses, these limits, is because people are coming and it's okay, you realize how much you can capitalize off this. So what you gonna do? We in America, you gonna capitalize. Right. So I'm not just gonna get one, I'm gonna get 5 houses on one block. I'm not just gonna get one apartment, I'm gonna get 10, and now I'm flipping them into short-term rentals, and that then makes it to where people who actually need housing, who actually live and work here, don't have anywhere to go.
Crazy.
Yeah, so things are crazy, but yeah. So
are
last
yours
time,
outside the city limits, so you're not subject to the regulations?
No, I'm inside the city limits, so I'm subject to the regulations. Okay. So since we've last spoken, I think before when we had spoke, I had 8 units at the time where I was knocking on 8 units. I'm now back down to 3. So I got rid of my corporate leases, which did we talk about? We're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about today. I got rid of those for not even the licensing reason. I have my short-term rental license, so all is well. I'm permitted and I'm licensed and all of that. But got rid of the corporate leases, and now I just have a loft in Midtown, the tiny house, and my property as well.
Oh, that's a vibe. I feel like that's the perfect combination.
It's manageable because, like, last year, like, I made so much money, right? But I was running around and moving, and just, like, it comes with so much. And now I'm at the point, like, y'all, I turned 25 last year. I'm 26 now. I'm a little younger. But, like, I got to the point where I'm like, I can't do all of this.
All this flipping and flipping and
running.
You're like,
and
for how much money?
And the thing is like, it was good money to where for a lot of people, and even for me, like, it was worth it when I did it. But when I think about, like, how I want my life to be set up, like, I don't want to be running between houses and taking, like, talking to crazy guys.
Were you doing everything yourself, or you had...
even with a team, but even managing a team, like, y'all hear the stories every day. This shit's stressful.
Yeah, definitely.
It's very stressful doing this. So it's like, I needed my peace of mind back. And then even furthermore, just time to, like, focus on things that were not revenue generating. Like, I make everything about money. I do. I tend to. But... you know, everything don't need to be a money-making mission. I can just have fun with something. So that's what I'm doing now.
A little hobby.
Exactly. So...
Does this story have to do with why we contracted from 8 to 5?
Which one? Sounds
like there's two. One of them, no, but you also have a story about why you got rid of the corporate.
Exactly. So basically, like, that would honestly be just a very quick, like, you know, hit. So we can answer that. I actually have a video out regarding it as well. But we are talking about the arrest.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. That's the main story.
Yeah, that's the main story.
Why don't we whet the appetite with that video?
The short term or the corporate leases.
Yes. Oh, yes. So the corporate leases. So those who had been following me, some people know me as not Precious Price, but Airbnb Money. I'm Airbnb Money. I'm behind that platform. So building Airbnb Money and being a part of that, I then got 5 apartment units, corporate leases in the city last June.
I was going to say, I don't think you had those when you were here last time. It's the tiny house and then your own house.
I was about to get them.
Yeah.
So I had the corporate leases. They lasted, obviously, all of 6 months. Obviously, all of 6 months. But why we got rid of those corporate leases? So I actually, which I believe may have been the reason I was reaching out to you, Maha, but I had to go through a lawsuit with the management company. Not my management company, but the apartments management company.
Ian's been there and won.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so they ended up settling with me, but there was, like, a number of issues that led to that. Number one, it's like maintenance was an issue. You are, like, if I'm going to be renting these out on a corporate level, these are for my clients, you know that they need to be habitable, maintained. And there were issues related to water, electric, like heating and cooling. Just exactly.
Cover the basics there.
Exactly. And it's like, if it's at that point, then now I'm losing money because corporate leases are not cheap. I was paying upwards of like $3,000 per month. They were just way too much. And granted, if they were doing what they needed to, it was fine. Some of the units were actually doing exactly what they needed to, but there were certain units where they just could not get it together. They did not maintain them properly. So after about 3 months, so I would say this was around the end of September, I got rid of 2 of them. And then by December, it was just like, okay, this relationship is just not working anymore. And we needed to terminate that. So I ended up terminating that. And they were supposed to return all of my security deposits for all of the units.
Even though you terminated early?
Yeah, so in the contract, that's the piece that I talk about in my video as well. So having that grace period within your contract is what really helps you, because I knew this wasn't something that I'm like, okay, this is $3,000 per month for 5 units. That's $15,000 times 12 months. That's a lot of money to lock yourself into. So I didn't do that.
I didn't know they would give you that option. Like I was assuming the corporate leases are kind of like an addendum or an addition to whatever their actual regular lease is for the apartment, but it's like a whole separate...
It's business. Everything up for negotiation.
So they charge you more than they would their regular apartments.
I mean, for a corporate lease, yes, but not necessarily for like the parameters I had. I still had the rate or the monthly rental rate that somebody who just had a regular corporate lease would. But yeah, so the time came, we vacated those apartments and asked for the security deposit at the end of December. Asked for it at the end of January. have a lawyer reach out. Hey, what's going on with the security deposit? And I never got those security deposits back for 5 units. And a lot of people don't tend to know, which is helpful for your audiences. However, but in the state of Georgia, typically, if your landlord or whoever it is, they do not return your security deposits back within 30 days, you are entitled to 3 times of whatever that amount is.
Treble damages.
So, I mean, if it goes to court. You know that. If it goes to court. But of course, in this climate with how housing is, all of the evictions that were happening over the last couple of years, the court system still exactly.
Story of our lives.
So, I mean, I was willing to take it to court. However, it was just a smarter and quicker decision to go ahead and settle. So they ended up settling with me for an amount less than what I was entitled to.
If you would have went to court.
Okay, so you were the one suing them. I thought they were suing you for like Airbnb-ing. That's what happened to him. Different.
Yeah, no, it's a corporate lease, so they knew I was Airbnb-ing. But that's the funny part about it is
well, I thought it was kind of a gray area. Like the corporate lease, do they know that you're Airbnb-ing?
No.
Or do they,
So no,
it's just best to just
No. So what I'm saying, I say no to what y'all are saying. No, in that corporate leases are, yes, they are more so like, okay, I'm a business, I'm renting this apartment in a traditional way. But the way that I do it is, again, adding that addendum and being 100% transparent. So they knew exactly what I was doing with those units. The funny part is, though you say that within, I guess, mediation, right? The lawyer, like, they try to just find shit. So the lawyer, like, is just bringing up a bunch of stuff. He's like, yeah, I saw her YouTube, and she's, like, making all this money from Airbnb, and
not they also... business, but okay.
Exactly, but
Thanks
they
for following.
Right, subscribe, like.
And then they also tried to bring up that piece as well that you were talking about, like, well, technically, like, was she even supposed to be Airbnb? And I'm like, wait, no, my very first message, exactly, the addendum, and then on top of that, the very first message when I reached out to them asking about the apartment says, hey, I'm looking to use this.
Right.
So it's like, it was
you
just
covered your ass.
Exactly.
Sure.
So that's really like one of the main pieces and why I released the video on it, is so people can understand how to do that, because so many times people think like once they get that one yes with corporate leasing, it's like, all right, I'm good. Like finally, oh my goodness, let's get in. But you like, and even me, I made this mistake as well. It's like you think that people are looking out for you and they're not.
Yeah.
They're looking out for them.
Right. It's still business.
Exactly.
Corporate landlords.
I know.
Literally, corporate landlords. It's like, so it's just, it was a lot going on there, but that is why I ended up getting out of the corporate leases, and I'm glad that it's finally settled.
No, congratulations.
Closed out. Thank
NDA,
you.
Can we shit on this?
I know, yeah. You want to throw these people under the bus? Fuck these
No,
apartments.
I'm not even
Only
gonna.
one out of 5 guests does shit on the person I
know. People are actually really nice. I would be giving names, social security numbers, date of birth.
Oh my! I mean, like,
asking
if
people to
you're
troll them
listening
on
and you want to
Instagram.
know who it was, reach out to me. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because they like see, and it's crazy because
is it a major chain?
I wouldn't say they're like major. Like they're more of like a regional property manager. So they have properties here in Florida, and I believe, like they said, North Carolina. But yeah, so if you do want to know that name, reach out to me. But it's funny because once all of that stuff started going wrong, it's almost like I got the corporate leases when they were changing management. So then they changed management. It's like, yeah, like we're so much better. We're not doing this no more. We're not doing that no more. And it's crazy.
Including maintenance.
Yeah.
And when I finally got the chance to actually like go back and look at the Google reviews, which was like maybe January, February, like right around that time that I had got my apartment, that's when like the reviews started going down for the new management. So it's like you switched out management.
Everybody, because at first I thought they were particularly like not making sure your units, because they were trying to like prioritize
it was
tenants versus
they had 2
leases.
residential trash cans for how many apartments? It was like 16 apartments. Like that doesn't make any sense. 2 residential bins. The stuff was overflowing.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it was a lot going on, but be mindful of these corporate leases, and then also be mindful of the people who are saying that, you know, they're helping you get a corporate lease, and they might be putting you in that position to where
because they just make a profit based on just you booking out.
Exactly.
So you settled what percentage of your deposit did you get back? Like more than half, less than half?
So again, I was entitled to that 15. I was entitled to 3 times.
But you just didn't get the 3 times.
Exactly. I didn't get 3 times as
great.
much. Exactly. Yeah. So I still profited.
She like, no.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because
the word says.
You have to think about it, though. Think about it. If I'm sitting here with interest, right? If I'm sitting here and you owed me my security deposits back in December, it's June.
Yeah, you could have made so much money off of that money.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So it's like you owe me interest on
this stock market economy, but
stretch.
Yeah, so it was a lot, y'all. It was a lot.
I'm glad you got rid of that stress.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell us about that other stress.
Yeah, now tell us about the juicier stress.
The juicier stress. Okay, so the arrest. Where do I begin? Let's start from the TNOP. So with the arrest, this actually happened at one of the corporate lease units.
I knew it was all involved.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Foreshadowing.
So this actually happened at one of the corporate lease units, and this was when we had, I wouldn't say like first started, but we were like in for our first few guests. Mm-hmm. So this first guest had booked, and initially, if you're familiar with the like short-term rentals and Airbnb platforms and all of that, typically when you first list, you are going to get people who are booking for longer stays, because usually when you first list, they're also offering a promotional discount. So that was going on. But he ended up booking for like 2 weeks initially. And I'm like, all right, this is a person who is out. His profile like said he's like a host out in, I don't know, Brussels, Belgium. I don't know. Somewhere in the UK.
You're relying on the translating.
Yeah. So
okay, but
he was hosting out there, and he also had a number of units, but this was a 5-star person, like a 5-star guest. So there was nothing to be alarmed about. With it being 2 weeks, of course, anything over 2 weeks for us within our processes, we typically have a separate leasing agreement that you have to sign. Even if it's not 30 days, 28 days, whatever, anything over 14, we just want you to sign that just to make sure we're covered.
Smart.
Dot in your eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you
should go to law school.
Right.
Foreshadowing, right? Like, when I got arrested, I had those copies of the leasing agreements and everything in hand. They meant nothing.
It don't mean shit to them. No.
It meant nothing.
You can't read that shit to begin with, first of all.
It meant absolutely nothing. So fast forward, the guest actually arrives. They come, they move in. It's a little family. Mm-hmm. Husband, wife, I believe 2 kids, maybe 1. I don't remember. I don't care. Don't remember, don't care. But either way.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Wow.
That's stupid.
I like food jokes.
So, they get into the unit, and it's like, all right, they're moved in, cool, all good to go. And the reasoning that they told me that they were coming, right? Number one, he's like, all right, we're actually moving there, and we are getting a unit up and running as well. So we're visiting a little bit of family, and we're just going to be closing on our house within this time as well. So I'm like, okay, like all sounds good. You don't seem like a person that's about to.
And he's a host, so that's an automatic, like, okay.
And on top of that, the day after, a day or two after he had actually started his reservation, because he saw how many units I had as well. He's like, oh, you got this, you got that, like you're doing it in Atlanta. So he's like, let's chat over coffee. I definitely want to know how hosting is here in the States. And I'm like, yeah, like let me know how it is out there too. So we sit down, chop it up, like. Really thought he was a nice guy.
Wow.
Told him all of my business. Like, thought he was an amazing guy. And
about to partner up with him and shit.
Right. Y'all know how. I told you I turn everything into a money-making opportunity.
So what's Brussels looking like?
Literally,
what's the weather like?
That exchange rate.
Right.
So that happened. They get into the unit, and after we have that conversation, I'm like, okay, cool. But things start to get like a little spotty after that, because now he's following up like with my assistant, and he's reaching out to us, and he's like, oh, well, we need this, or this is wrong, or can they come and change the hot water tank because it's a little too hot? Just all of these little
hot water tank.
So that's what I'm like.
Oh,
it was
turn it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Whole new tank. I'm like, what?
But so he was doing that, and then on top of that, I guess because they were staying for 14 days, probably I think this was maybe like day 4 or 5. It was pretty early in the game. He ended up going to Target, like Target and Publix, and taking it upon himself to like, oh, I'm buying things that you need for the unit.
In Brussels, these are standard.
Right.
It was like fucking Pyrex baking dishes, like things that you really do not need, like a pasta server and all these, like a vanity mirror. It was crazy. He even bought a whole microwave, like an extra.
I'm acting surprised, like I ain't listened to your story. I know all this, but still,
it's crazy. So all of that ended up adding up to about like a little over $500, and he sends me the receipt.
My gosh.
Oh my gosh.
You're like, haha, that's cute.
No, seriously, it was like,
These
oh,
are
that's
things
cute.
I prefer to have.
Right.
Seriously.
Wait, what was the craziest of all the stuff he bought? Like,
It gotta be the microwave.
Yeah, no, the microwave and the toaster.
Second microwave.
was there not a microwave at all?
Already have
No,
a
there
toast?
was a microwave in there, but he
Not
wanted-
good enough of a microwave?
Exactly. So I guess he said he was having problems, or like, I don't know if it was like a break. And this might be on the apartment, right? Because again, electrical issues were going on there.
Right.
So it might have been a break.
Landlords.
But either way, it's like, you don't just take it upon yourself to buy those items and
Right.
expect to be reimbursed
Definitely not.
in a rental.
Where
You
the
don't do
receipts
that.
at?
Exactly. So he ended up sending receipts, and even with those receipts, I'm like, send it back. Good to know
Yeah.
you got the receipts.
Yeah, it sounds like
Glad
you
you
need
kept
another-
Yeah.
this. Please return it.
No, seriously, it's like, okay, fine, you can keep this bowl. And, like, it was just little stuff to, I guess, make him and his family stay a lot more enjoyable. Ice cream servers. Like, who cares? Use a spoon. So that happened. That happened, and that was like
If it's too cold.
that was the first little, like, I guess, initial, like, okay, like, this guy might be a problem.
Oh, so
I
he sent you the
guarantee-
receipt, not at the end, mid-trip.
No, this wasn't mid-trip.
Right,
This was like
right after getting back from Target and
Yeah.
eating
And
ice
I
cream.
guarantee he doesn't have any of those things in his own units.
It made
That's so crazy.
it was too much. So that happened, and then we let him know. We like, hey, send those items back. Like, you need to go and get a refund because we're not reimbursing you for all of that. That's like, and then on top of that, it's like with the discount that you had got because we were running
Oh,
the
yeah.
promotion. That's like you
we're
want to be
losing money now.
reimbursed for half your trip, like money that you're paying. That
And I
doesn't
pay
make
you
sense.
in kitchenware.
Right.
No,
He's getting
so
like 1,600 thread count sheets.
that happened. And then from that point, and y'all, this is very intricate. So if I'm like trying to figure out like all of the pieces, forgive me. But so that happened to where he did that. And then like we're 5 or 6 days into the actual stay now. So 5 or 6 days into the actual stay. And now because because maintenance was kind of low at the apartment, we had a maintenance guy on hand. So that's also why I was seeking more money from those people as well. I'm paying out of pocket to maintain this motherfucker. So because of that, my maintenance guy was back and forth. And I guess like, I don't know, just two guys, they're, kicking, what's the phrase? Kicking rocks or something? I don't know. Like,
They're just chilling.
like shooting the shit.
Yeah.
You kick
Kick
rocks.
rocks means like fuck off, but
Shooting the shit means we're talking.
Just kicking
Much
it.
like what we're doing right here.
Yes, so they're doing that, and I guess he then discloses to the maintenance person that he's like, yeah, like that's not actually my name on Airbnb. Like, it's like an alias. Like my real name is this, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
The maintenance guy's like, hey, listen, I got this.
Exactly. So my assistant, because the maintenance.
How do you even start a conversation like that? Hey, I'm not really who I said I was.
right.
Just to let you know.
It could be
Why?
that they were calling him the name from Airbnb, and then maybe he's like, hey,
yeah.
hey, since we're homies. But
I think you had
either
a supplemental maintenance man. That's not,
to find out
Yeah.
this type of information, exactly. So, okay, their stay is fine, and I would say about 6 to 7 days into the stay, he then says like, hey, it's looking like things are pushing out. We're wondering if we can extend our stay a bit. And I'm like, hey, that's fine, but in order for us to do that, we are going to need to switch units. Like, that's typically how some folks try to get around it. It's like, okay, like, since you're not staying in the same unit for a consecutive certain amount of days, we can switch. But we switched, number one, because of that, and then number two, because we were booked. So other people were coming in, and you just needed to
you
shift.
can accommodate him.
Exactly.
And the other people coming in, it was like a longer stay also, right? Like not something you could be like, all right, fuck these 2 days stay.
Oh no, and I
I'll
wouldn't
take this
even do
long
that.
one. Yeah.
Exactly. So I wouldn't have even done that. So we did end up saying like, okay, you know what? We'll extend a little bit because the money looking right. Like this is the
Right.
end of August, early
Even
September.
less all the bowls
Items.
and
Exactly.
spoons.
Even
So
all
out
of
of
the
that 500,
items.
how much did you reimburse them for some of it? Like,
We-
okay,
we-
this is reasonable.
We
or
reimbursed
not?
them for maybe like $100 to $120 worth of items, but that was it. It was not
would've
the
even done
full
that,
500.
but-
I didn't want to.
Right.
But again,
was like,
he
okay,
was
this kinda
staying.
cute.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
then this will work. So that happened, and he's like, okay, we want to extend our stay a little
Press,
bit.
I think I could eat.
Garlic press.
Not a garlic press,
God.
but that's the stupid. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
stupid
yeah.
stuff
Type
that
of
was
shit.
in
Also,
there.
like,
Yeah.
don't shit on garlic press.
I like to
So-
hand chop mine, but
Yes. he had wanted to extend his stay. We ended up approving and saying, all right, because he wanted to extend for another, I think 10 days, 10 or 11 days. And I'm like, all right, we can do that. We're just gonna have to shift you around. But he was fine with that because initially he was also complaining that, mind you, these apartments were in the middle of Midtown, right on Juniper Street, if you're familiar. So right by Siva's.
I think I know probably the exact apartments you're talking about.
Yes. So, that happened, and during his stay, he was also complaining my kids are scared, it's loud.
It's Atlanta, bro.
They said that there's prostitute and pimps outside.
Well,
so I'm
probably, but
again, it's
dressed nicely. It's
that
right.
When you're in the city centers, things like that tend to happen.
Exactly.
Though it's you are going to get a city type of feel. You're gonna go on one block, and it's gonna be oh wow, look at that nice corporate office building, and then you turn around the corner, and boom.
Airbnb.
You just got shot.
Airbnb experiences.
Exactly. So that was all happening, but we ended up approving his extension and just saying, hey, we're just gonna have to shift units for you. And we had landed on an exit date or a close reservation end date of September 17th. September 17th. Oh, absolutely, it goes down here because it's when I got arrested.
This date is burned into your memory.
Into my memory. So
you're a prison Virgo.
So
prison Virgo.
Stop
this guy.
Mind you, August. So end of August, I started traveling a lot. But again, I had my team. I had the property manager, the assistant, all of that. So that was going on. But a lot of the communication started happening between them. So it was a little hard to I guess. Typically,
because you're on vacation.
Care, yes. But when I came back, I remember, and then the arrest happened and all of that. I remember thinking to myself and feeling so bad. I'm damn, had I not went on vacation, had I just stayed and handled everything, because I felt bad about going on vacation. I'm one of those people who work too much and never takes vacation. So I felt bad. I felt bad, and I'm oh my God, if I just did it on myself and just made sure and just he would have been out and everything would have been good. And it was just crazy things. So either way, going back to he had extended his stay, we had approved it, and then go on. It's now coming up on the week of when he is supposed to depart. So
you're just getting back from where?
I had took a cruise. I went to LA. I went to Miami. I went to Orlando.
Yes, all of it.
I went to the Bahamas.
And the cruise?
On one trip?
No, these were multiple trips.
Okay,
so I went on the cruise, and then I went to Miami.
We
Went from
outside.
Miami to LA, came back to Miami, stayed there a few days, then went to Orlando. It was a lot going on. So I was moving, and that's what I tend to do because I can do that. That's my business. Either way. I come back, and again, this is the week of when he is supposed to be leaving. So I'm all right, I'm letting my assistant know, hey, can you let them know we typically do for all of our guests? Hey, your departure date is coming up. It was nice knowing you. Nice knowing you, but
start packing.
It's
Leave
time to
behind
go.
all the items we paid for.
So, funny you say that.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, so funny you say that. But so the week comes, we send him that message, and then we let him know, hey, 17th, we're going to need you out. Because again, at this point, we were booked, at least for that particular unit, we were booked back to back. So when he was leaving, another guest was coming. And this was also the same weekend that Music Midtown was happening. I've never been, but it's some festival.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. You're something called Music Midtown.
If it was one music fest or something, then
they just released the lineup.
Yes,
I saw that. I got
lineup.
the email.
You sure?
I got the email. It was fine.
Gucci and Jeezy. Juvenile, I'm also very excited about.
Very excited.
Funny story, in middle school, my nickname, and this is not a nickname because it's way longer than my actual name, but it was riding the Benz on 20-inch rims, ha, because Maha.
Oh my gosh. Who did that?
I don't know, but it was pretty funny. And also, I was 12, so I wasn't riding on any rims, but anyway.
Okay, at 12, that's pretty good.
Right. That's pretty
Middle
good,
school.
12-year-old.
Middle school.
That's a nickname that some kids will come up with.
Right.
So yeah, we comes, we let him know.
For short.
Riding.
Riding the Benz on 20-inch rims, ha, for sure.
The jokes just, oh my God.
It's in.
Oh, man.
He's hilarious.
Anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. They not good.
That one was good. That one was good.
For
sure.
Okay, Little Brussels Sprouts was very good.
That one was good. Little Brussels sprouts?
I don't think so.
It's probably because y'all hear the other jokes, so y'all like, okay, that was a decent, like a 6 on the scale.
No, it was
She's shitting
good.
on Ian right now. It's so funny.
I'm gonna be honest with you because nobody else be honest.
Great that we brought you back.
This gonna be one of your best episodes.
All our return
guests. I think it's so funny to me because I just never expect it. It's like you are a real person.
I thought it was an endearing.
Like you shaved your mustache.
Way too much.
I thought she enjoyed it, but apparently not.
I did shave the mustache for this.
Like he changes so much, like a new character, so you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yes. The
You don't know what you're
mustache
gonna
is a
get.
completely different personality.
I don't think I've seen the mustache.
It's because it was.
So you're telling me you haven't watched all 71 of our episodes since you've been on
It
here?
doesn't show up on the camera very much. So there's
I can see that.
Yeah.
Because of the lighting?
Yeah.
And because
of the
I
blonde
had
hair?
barely hit puberty.
Also, it wasn't connecting.
Oh, it definitely doesn't
No,
connect.
it's a
Like the
stash.
reverse
Oh,
is-
trying to get it to
the
connect
stash,
for like
not
2
the-
years.
Not a little.
Oh, I definitely can't connect here. But I'm talking about just here and
But
here.
here
For our
it's
viewers, I'm
giving.
talking.
Just the mustache connecting to itself in the
yeah,
middle.
yeah, they can't even connect. Much
Wow,
less
this
to the
conversation
chin.
took a
All right,
hard
shut the
turn.
fuck about my facial hair. Let me get back to the more.
Back to it. Those of you that are listening. All right. So,
All 5 of you.
So,
500 a month now.
I know.
Thank you.
congratulations.
You're not one of them, apparently, but
She gonna listen to this one.
That was a 6 Maha joke.
She'll listen to this one.
my jokes are hilarious, first of all.
I'm gonna listen to mine.
She'll listen to her.
I'm gonna listen
She'll
to mine in the
We have
Googles. I
one
listened to a couple of
guarantee
them.
listen.
Yes.
For sure.
No, I think I pushed some folks your way because one of the videos I did, I put it on TikTok. It actually went. It went
Oh,
pretty-
now you
it
taking
did
credit
well.
for our lives. Okay, you're not
It
even
went pretty
watching.
well. I mean, it was on my page. It was my likes. I saw y'all TikTok.
All right, fine.
We could work
fine,
together.
fine.
We could work together.
I know, yeah. We could cross promote.
Right.
Okay, so back to it. Back on track. So, anywho. So, yeah, week comes. We tell them they need to get the hell out. He pretty much says, I'm not leaving. Because because to him, so from what he was saying, he's like, no, we agreed on an additional 15 days because again, he was going
nickel and diming you over an extra day.
no.
15 days.
No,
you want to stay
again.
15 more days?
Again, so listen.
Keep up, Ian.
14 days initially, he wanted to extend for another 10 or 11. So then he was then trying to say that he wanted to extend. He had told us that he wanted to extend for another 14 or 15. And that is not true.
Was it an email?
No. Well, I mean, an email between us saying, and pretty much saying you were supposed to be out on the 17th. Yeah. But he was trying to say that he was like talking with my assistant and my assistant had said this. And now I'm like, no. So then she's sending me screenshots of their messages. And she's like, no, he's trying to pretty much, it seems like he's trying to confuse us between the messages. So
Conquer.
that was just a lot. So
I think you're funny, personally.
everybody got a spectrum
Divide
of
and
funny.
conquer, that was funny. Okay, continue.
He did try to do that, though. That was a great tactic. He tried it, though.
We do know that it worked because.
Okay, she got arrested.
Yeah.
Wow, too soon. Continue. She
No,
really hates you now.
it's right on time. I really don't give a damn. Let's finish this story. So,
Precious was backwards.
don't do that. I hate that. Oh my God. Anywho, back on track. So yes, they were supposed to leave. And once we got that message where he was like, okay, well, we're pretty much not leaving because he's like, well, I think he had gave us an ultimatum. He's like, well, either you can refund the entire $1,500 back that we've paid and we'll leave today. And, you'll hear from my lawyers, or we're going to stay here. And if you come in here, then we're going to have the police here. Like, it was kind of that type of ultimatum. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense.
I understand.
Right.
America.
I understand.
Actually, doesn't work like that here. You cannot kick anybody out without the court system.
It's unfortunate.
Oh, after they stay for a certain amount of time.
No, it's not even
No
that.
amount of time. Somebody could just fucking break into your house and live there and
That's
squat.
the piece. So that's the piece that, again, like I have a video on this and and that's why I released it because so many people are like, well, did he stay more than 21 days? But he could have stayed 3 days and sat his ass right there and said, okay, I'm not getting up. and I'm not
a video
leaving.
like that on Twitter. It's viral.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen it. So it's like
it's
people
crazy.
think that this minimum day thing does something. It doesn't necessarily do anything. All it really does, and correct me if I'm wrong, is categorize whether or not they have tenant rights or not.
Right.
Because tenant rights are then going to activate. But that doesn't.
It's not my area of law.
It doesn't prevent them from squatting. That's the piece. Nothing can prevent somebody
But if
from
the police
squatting.
comes and they're supposed to be out, the police doesn't take your side.
So again,
civil matter. They're like, this is civil. It's not criminal. We can't do shit.
They won't kick out till you get a dispossessory.
That's what I'm saying. You can't kick anybody out of anywhere without going through the court system. Doesn't even matter like what's happening.
That's what happens when you get to a free country.
I want
Free
to squat.
country. We use that loosely, but
Exactly. Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. So Monday, when he was like, all right, well, we're not leaving, we tried to kind of communicate back and forth with him, like, okay, like, seriously, we don't have anywhere else for you to go. We have somebody coming. We need you to leave. And he's like, well, we don't have anywhere to go, and we're from out of the country. And then I'm like, you just said that your wife has a sister here and she knows somebody. What are you like? Everything was just not making sense. Like, it was just like lies on lies on lies. And then on top of that, you're not even who you say you are.
right.
Right. And
I'm
it
like, well, you can stay, but you're about to have 3 new roommates that arrive on Mondays. So.
Franz. That is your real name.
whatever his fake name is, can stay, but the real name has to
Right,
go.
the real name gets to go.
So I tried to use that to my advantage. Wednesday comes around. This is Monday when we let him know that he needed to leave. He was supposed to be leaving on a Friday. So Monday, Tuesday happened. He's still saying
When
no.
was the new guest supposed to come?
Friday.
Oh.
So Wednesday comes around as well, and he's still like, okay, no. So Wednesday, I'm like, all right, we're down to 48 hours, and you're not about to mess up my money that's coming in for this weekend because you are wanting to be stupid. So Wednesday comes around, and I'm like, all right, we're going to go to the unit. Before I go into the unit, I attempted to go at this in a civil and proper manner. I called the police. I'm like, hey, I'm wanting you to, come knock on the door, ID this guest. He is not supposed to be here. I have my leasing agreements. These are my apartments. He is supposed to be departing. Because again, this is Wednesday. Now, granted, Wednesday, I'm pretty much just trying to get him out at any means, which is at this point why Friday just went out the window. Initially, he was supposed to be departing Friday. Once he said, I'm not leaving, it's like, okay, I need to get you out ASAP.
Can't be dragging his ass out when your guests are checking in,
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm.
look,
exactly. That was the piece as well. I really did not have the time to wait until Friday, which is why Wednesday was really the only option. Because if you're saying that, okay, well, I'm not going to leave, and then Friday comes, and now I have to try to
Wednesday the 17th?
Right.
No, Wednesday's 15th.
Okay.
It's kind of like he looked
That's
up
not
American
subject
law and was like, oh, loophole.
And I
Gonna
wouldn't
go.
be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Gonna go to the States and, fuck it up one time.
Yeah, I know. That's what that meeting was really about. He's like, so how does it work here? That's crazy.
Goofy written on my forehead. So Wednesday rolls around, an officer arrives, and then she proceeds upstairs to the apartment with me to then go knock on the door. She knocks on the door. He picks up and he's like, well, this is my house. And he's like, well, this is my house and she's trespassing and like all of this extra stuff. So then all the officer is really trying to do is say, hey, sir, are you supposed to be here? Do you have your ID? What do you have saying that you are entitled to be here? And he's trying to like pull up stuff on Airbnb. Now, this is a really important piece for me to mention to y'all. The first 14 days that I had mentioned was his first reservation. You recall that happened on Airbnb. So then when he asked to extend, that's when he then reached out to me. He's like, hey, like Airbnb charges all of these fees.
Give that shit.
Hold on. Don't assume what's going on. Don't assume. Wait. So
Okay, Ian.
yeah, so he then goes and he says, hey, like, let's like book offline, da da da. And I'm like, man, I'm in this for a while. Like, I know what happens when you do this. Like, no. So I'm like, no, I don't think that'll be a good idea. But I mean, if you're really that pressed, I can send the request for the money through the help center. So it still happens on Airbnb, and Airbnb is getting the money first, and then it comes to me. But they wouldn't get a service fee. Like, they're not going to charge a service fee because it's
I
pretty
didn't know
much
that was a loophole.
Never thought of that.
it's pretty much like
Goofy on your forehead.
It's pretty much like when if you ever stay at an Airbnb and they're like, oh, you damaged something, that's typically how they request the money back is through the help center.
Right.
So you can request
to
any
put
type
like
of money.
written details about what the money is for, or just.
I feel like Airbnb's always like, no, we're not.
No,
paying.
you gotta have the right documentation. Mine always get approved. Mine have always been approved, I will say. And even that one, which is crazy, they approved. the money went through. Like, I got it. Oh. That's what's crazy.
Wait, so he paid for the extra stay.
Mm-hmm. He paid for the extra stay until the 17th, but he was saying he paid for it until the 21st. Okay, gotcha. So that's the piece. And in the notes, we actually said, and what I had... Exactly. We had said when he was supposed to be leaving, and in the notes on Airbnb, it actually was the 15th.
Oh, yeah.
And then he tried to extend, I guess, with my assistant another day, and we're like, okay, well, we can accommodate still up until the people who come on Friday, that 17th. So that ended up happening, and that was one of the major reasons, I would say, not that I got arrested, but that a repercussion of all of that I also got all of my account and stuff removed, or that's what they were Airbnb was trying to hinge on, is that, you violated our safety policy and you violated our terms of service by taking an off-platform
Well, I feel like you're skipping ahead, though, first.
No,
what did you do?
The dumbass thing I was just talking about. She
broke it down.
Wisely, but then until it came out better than that, so maybe who's the goose?
Oh, wait, not what you got arrested for, which I don't want to say yet, but they're saying you violated the policy by going outside of Airbnb to let him stay?
By
taking the money.
By
do that.
So pretty much what
by
they're
using
saying...
the help desk thing.
No. Listen.
Instead of extending, am I right? Instead of just saying adding the extra days and then adding the payment, so it's all through that.
Yeah.
So the
so they
particular
get their fees.
So the
Greedy
particular
fucking
violation is they have which I did not know, and a lot of people did not know, because I actually did a poll of this on my platform on Instagram as well, and many people who are hosting had no idea, but there's a particular term within the terms of service you agree to as a host that say, number one, you're not going to ask for money off platform and all of that, and then number two, you're not going to redirect any bookings outside of Airbnb in general. Pretty much, they want you to keep everything in Airbnb, which makes sense.
Message them and hey, my number is 404, and the next message, I can't say my number on internet, but
you type it out in letters.
And that's typically why you see people do that on Airbnb. Exactly, because they
go above board.
Yeah.
Still, all right, shut up.
So that is what happened there, and that's pretty much how we had went around it. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to completely take it off platform, because then he was like, well, I can wire you, but my Euro bank and and I'm like, no, do it through Airbnb. So that's why I was initially, because again, it's just small little gut checks that I should have definitely paid attention to. I would say even with that, it's when he was speaking about making the payments and trying to go around, and as a host himself, that should have been a red flag. But honestly, it's not for a lot of people on Airbnb, host and guests included, because so many people, you look at that fee Airbnb taking, you damn, they take a lot, and especially for a reservation that's 14 plus days, it's gonna be a lot. So that's how we went around it, and that's what happened. So then going back to the actual week of when they are supposed to be leaving. So again,
the cop.
Exactly. So the cop, she knocks on the door, asks to ID him, all of that. He's pretty much I don't even know. I guess the word would be erratic. He is just well, no, she's not supposed to be in my house, and we paid for this, and did a bunch of stuff, and he's not wanting to present his ID to the officer.
Now you have a passport.
Yeah. So he's not wanting to do that, and because he's going back and forth with her, he's raising his voice. He's getting pretty close in your
about
space.
American police? Don't do that.
Getting pretty close in your space. But however, a large piece of this that I do want to mention, and I like to mention as well, is that number one, this first officer that had arrived was a woman, I already mentioned, but this was a Black woman, and based on all of the interactions that I'm about to run through with you, all of the people that I brought through, his tune
changed.
Yes, the aggression or the overbearingness that was showed, for instance, when her and I were there, or when me and one of my sisters had come that Friday, was completely different than when the male officers that showed up and when my male friends showed up as well. It was a completely different tone. So Wednesday that happened, and because he was so erratic, because he's yelling, doing all of this, she pretty much told him okay, well, just go sit down right there on the couch. And she's talking to me, and behind her, as she's looking at me, he's mouthing I'm not leaving, and a little smirk on his face. And it's just it's so
creepy.
Sick. It's very creepy, very sick, very creepy. So I'm okay, because he was pretty much, I guess, being, non-compliant or whatever the word is. He wasn't really complying with her. She's okay, let me go call my sergeant. So she goes downstairs and calls the sergeant. Sergeant then says, this is a civil and not a criminal issue. They then pull that. And she's like, well, that's what they said, and that's just it.
Damn it, Sergeant.
I don't know.
It's from Wednesday to Friday.
This is what we're talking about right now. It's still Wednesday. It's still Wednesday.
So Thursday comes around.
So it's still Wednesday because when she left, I didn't give up. That's when I didn't.
Because we got to scoot.
Like,
we got to scoot to Friday.
Officer, please come.
Exactly. So then I'm like, all right. So I ended up staying So again, I had numerous apartments within this building. So I was in one of the apartments on the first floor. They were renting the one out on the third floor. So once that officer left, I'm like, okay, let me sit in apartment 1, think about what the hell I can do about this and who I can call, and then, move forward with it.
She leaves just like not pressing any charges, just like nothing I can do right now. I got to call the Sarge.
Yeah.
Yep. Sarge was like, I got to do work. No, thank you.
Another big piece of this, right? So I'm in apartment 1 and it's now probably maybe like 6 p.m. I called her maybe around 3 or 4. And then now it's like 6 p.m. going on 7 p.m. I'm like, all right, I'm in the apartment, chilling, trying to think this through, calling my friends. What can we do? And of course, you hear all of the stories, right? Like some people are like, this is why you got to have an A-team. Other people are like, man, you just better go up in there and start chilling and smoking and da-da-da.
I was just about to say, me and all my friends would have walked right up in there with them and been smoking blunts in the kids' faces. Or at least got
maintenance to shut everything, like,
his
cut
boyfriend
his power out.
Yeah,
exactly. But then even when you get to the point of like, okay, like turning power out and all of that, in a lot of places, including here, that is illegal to do.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't lock him out. Like if you had a smart lock and he left, can't change the code and lock him out.
I absolutely turned that off. Once that officer left.
That's also illegal.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I did that. So once that officer left, actually,
I'm not leaving sitting right here for the next
because
10
again,
days.
It was 2 of them. It was him and his wife. So what they started to do was like if
Only leave
somebody,
one at a time and let each other in. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's still
That's
Wednesday.
what I'm saying. I would have pulled up with all my friends and thrown a party in that bitch. Fucking kids are crowd surfing and blowing blunts in their faces.
But that's the piece. Like so many people, like I've put this story out so many times, right? And so many people always tell me like what they would have done and like what they.
I mean, that's with every situation.
Exactly.
Everybody's gonna.
Yeah, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I wouldn't have done that.
I mean, I get that.
I would have thought about it though.
Here's my point. Like, I have a point. So what
Let's
what I'm saying is, now I forgot the point. Like,
well, it happens.
Anyway, going back to so Wednesday happens. Yes, I'm still in the apartment, and then now they're like, I guess going back and forth, one person leaving, one person staying, and then I'm still there. So I see his wife. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't think there's anything that I can do. I'm going to have my friends come tomorrow. And that's what happened. My friends came the next day. But as I'm leaving the apartment that night or deciding like, okay, I'm going to do this tomorrow, I guess the wife's outside. I don't know if she went to the store or whatever. But I see her walking down the street and I'm going to my car. That's exactly what she said. Like, yeah, like she in my mind, she called me a bitch. That's
basically.
She said something smart, and in my mind, that's what she said. So then I turn around because I'm walking this way, she's walking that way. So I turn around. I'm like, "What did you say?" She's like, "What are you doing? Are you following me now? I'm about to call the police. This is harassment." I'm like, "No, I'm going to the."
Oh my gosh!
So
I would have lost it.
So she goes to the apartment.
I would have got arrested too.
Right.
She goes to the apartment building. So then at this point, she's like, I think it's unlocked already. It's unlocked. So then I go in and I'm like, hey, like, are you coming in? I hold the door open for her. She's like, no, I'm not coming in. And she slams it in my face. And I'm like, oh, but again, this is right when I had turned the locks off. So you can't get back in.
Yeah.
So now she's saying like, oh, you're trying to lock me out. I'm like, no, you closed the door. I didn't close the door. Like, and that was just it. So then now it's starting to rain. She's outside and it's hilarious. I have a picture too. You can see her husband in the window, like trying to record what's going on, but she's right there. I'm like, and I literally said, I'm like, you're not gonna come get your wife out the rain? Like, what you
can't leave the apartment? Wow.
So yeah, so at that point, I'm in the apartment, and after that, she had pissed me off. So the plan that was supposed to happen on Thursday ended up happening Wednesday. So Wednesday, I'm like, all right, friends, I need y'all to come over. So I had maybe like 6 of my guy friends come over, real, big. I thought they looked pretty intimidating. So they come, they arrive, they go upstairs, knock on the door, and I guess they're trying to talk to him or whatever. And again, like, to no avail, like, he's being scary, but to no avail, he's like, no, like, we're not coming out, we're not opening the door. He's cracking the door and shit. So I'm like,
his wife?
But you're in there with him?
No, I'm in apartment 1.
Okay.
He's on the third
You could have
floor.
just gave your friends the code to go in. There's no rule that says you can't let other people in when he's squatting, but
It's so many different rules and loopholes that I was trying to keep up with.
Right.
So at this point, when they do that, so then my friends come back down, and mind you, I had like one of like my older guy friends
You
there
had 6
too.
big dudes, and they're like, "He wouldn't open."
yeah.
No, they're like because at that point it's like as large black men in
I either gotta
hoodies
beat your ass.
like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You won't like I'm gonna go get in the fight with you, and then now
In jail.
now they got
Right.
exactly like there's no
Called her
point.
bluff.
Literally. So that happens, and once they come back downstairs, they're like, yeah, I think you should just like try to call another cop, like try to call a different one now. Maybe like a different one is gonna like let you know something different.
Just
I'm
be like, oh my God, some man from Brussels broke into my apartment and won't leave.
I wish I would have knew. The lies. Like that's what I'm saying, because they came, right? So I called another one. They do. And they specifically were lying. So the police come, and I think we asked for like the sergeant to come as well. So 3 officers come, and then the sergeant brings those 3 officers. So then they come and they go upstairs and speak with them, and then I'm hearing, because again, you can hear it from the hallway. She starts crying. She's like, oh my God, I'm just so scared, and she's harassing me, and she ended up filing a harassment claim on me that night.
You even let foreign nationals do that shit?
I know. Do they have rights here? Hold on.
That's the piece. She has the American citizenship.
Damn it. She 90-day fiancé'd his ass.
So
This is wild.
In the ring.
And I was joking. If you're undocumented, you still have rights. Please know that.
my God.
This shit is wild.
So she starts crying, and I hear her like crying. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Because again, like she just like she was
Call
talking,
me a bitch.
She was talking no,
Basically.
like I kid you not, like she really was talking like strong though to me. Like, and I'm like, well, if you want, like, let's go. But either way, that happened. She ended up crying and all of that. Then they came down there, and the sergeant literally looked me in my face. He's like, these people are scared for their life.
Oh my God.
Sergeant.
No.
They're just as bad, honestly.
Oh my God.
No, that is what the craziest piece of all of this is. Like, no, it was not a white sergeant.
I'm scared of you people too.
What you mentioned as well earlier in regards to like, oh, like our shift's almost over. Literally, me and my friends had said the same thing. I remember like after they left, we said like it seemed like they was just trying to
Like, that's
get it over with.
We're
Exactly.
not- yeah.
Like they were, and literally the sergeant told me, he's like, just let them stay, and like take
Easy
this
for
as
you
a
to
lesson.
say.
Take this as a lesson learned, and
The fuck is the lesson? Like,
Oh my
literally any
gosh.
guest could do that then. If that's, what lesson is there? Stop Airbnb-ing?
Exactly. None of it made any sense. So at this point, I'm now frustrated. I'm a little discouraged. So Thursday goes by. I don't do anything Thursday because at this point, like,
I gotta
I've seen
reset.
4 officers.
Yeah.
Nobody has done anything. I gotta reset. Like, I really gotta figure out what's going on. So Friday comes, and I'm like, you know what? Friday morning, we're going to go. And it was just me and my homegirl now. So I should have brought the big dudes with me. But it was just me and my homegirl now. So we're like, it's Friday. We have a guest coming this afternoon. Thursday, what did happen is I did tell Airbnb about it. That's what did happen. I let them know, like, hey, can you let my guest that's coming kind of give them a heads up? I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this. But that's the piece is, like, so many people who list on these short-term rental platforms, they think that it's like, well, I'm going to stay and keep my bookings through Airbnb because I'm protected. You think you think they're about to send a squad out to go get that squatter out of your... No,
Unless
there's
it's like
nothing like that.
A rape or murder. There's like a whole black ops team for that. Which
Yeah,
you
we
know if
found
you
out about
listen to our
that.
podcast. But anyway,
No, that's what I'm saying. No, like
It has to be super
Airbnb
extreme.
all of these like Airbnb, police departments, all like you have all of the will and the right that you want to like extend. So even the police officer said like, oh, our hands are tied, we can't do anything. You can do whatever you want to. I've seen you do it. Like you can do whatever you want to.
Shit you're not supposed to do, you can do that.
Exactly. So it's like you really just did not want to. You did not have the time. And I remember the sergeant had told me, he's like, she's scared for her life and just leave her alone. And I told him, I looked him dead in his face. I'm like, I wish I could say that I'm scared for my life as well. Like I wish I could say this is the worst that I've been through, but it's not. So unfortunately, you're about to give me this harassment claim ticket, but I could file the same thing, but I can't because I have business to handle. Like, I wish I could pull some tears out of my derriere, but I can't. So, like, this is what it is. And it was just, like, very disheartening, like you said. But I did let Airbnb know on Thursday. Then Friday rolled around, and that's when we're like, okay, nobody's doing anything. Because I, too, was one of those people who thought Airbnb was going to send in the...
Psych. Yeah.
Send in the folks, and somebody going to get them out, and they partnered with the police department. No. They're just taking your money.
Definitely.
That's it. So
they probably took his money, too, for the extra days he stayed and just didn't tell you and kept that shit.
Yeah, no, like everything. So that's, we are getting close to Friday. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Friday rolls around. Friday morning rolls around, and I'm now at the point where I'm like, okay, we're going to go by here. It's me and my homegirl, and I'm like, all right, we're going to go into the apartment, and we're just going to sit, and we're going to make them uncomfortable. Like, I'm just going to sit. I'm going to sit in the kitchen. I'm going to sit.
No. Hey, kids. Little Brussels sprouts. Look at my little Brussels sprouts.
That worked. That one fit. So we go in. So, and at this, so mind you, I have a license to carry as well. So of course, my weapon's on my hip. Because
y'all crazy.
They're not used to that in Brussels.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that much.
Ain't a gun in sight in
They
Brussels.
they weren't. So, oh my goodness. Like, so I get to the apartment, and of course, like, it's locked. But like I said, like, I can, with these apartments, I had the ability to open all of them from my phone. So I just opened it. I knocked on the door first, and nobody answered. Like, I knocked hard, announced myself, nobody answered. So I'm like, okay, so we're just gonna go in, open the door. Little Brussels sprout sitting on the couch.
Not her using the joke that she hated, but anyways.
So little Brussels sprout sitting on the couch, watching TV, and I'm like, okay, I think he's like maybe 3 or 4 years old. Nothing
very, very little Brussels sprout.
Exactly. And again, and just for clarification, because a lot of folks, once you bring a kid into it, they're like, oh my God, you got a gun around a kid. It's concealed. So nonetheless, we go in, and I guess they're like in the back somewhere. These are 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments, so got a lot of space to just be around. But they're in the back, so then me and my homegirl, we're just up in the front. I'm sitting, I think I sit down like in the kitchen or something, and then she's just standing by the door. And she's there primarily, again, because I told her, like, I need you to record this interaction, because what happened Wednesday is not about to happen today. Well, I thought it wasn't.
It's actually going to be way worse, but...
Exactly. So... maybe like 3 or 4 minutes go by, and I guess they finally come out, and he notices that I'm in there. He's like, what are you doing in my house? You're trespassing.
Now it's my house.
Didn't they tell you? Didn't the officers tell you you're not supposed to be in here?
Has America all figured out? Fuck this guy.
But actually, the officers didn't say you're not supposed to be in there. They just said that he can be in there. Nobody said anything about whether you could be in there or not.
The officer, the sergeant did tell me to leave her alone because of her tears, and she's so scared. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So we get in, and now it's like, it's a bunch of hoopla, because we're in here, and now he's yelling. The wife's like, I guess, in a towel. She just got out the shower or whatever, and she's like, what are you doing in here? You just don't know. You just don't learn. Like, again, like very snarky and strong comments. So I'm like, okay, I'm just here. Like, I have every right to be here. This is my apartment. I'm just here. So now he's starting to, like, I'm walking around because, again, I told you, this guy, I don't know if this is like a cultural thing, but he would get in my space, especially, this is like last September. So this was when masks was kind of still being worn. Maybe not in Atlanta, but somewhere. Yeah. So either way, he like
somewhere was wearing a mask.
Exactly. So he's getting in my face. So I, of course, as he's getting closer, I'm backing up. So even on camera, I have all of this on camera. Even on camera, it's looking like, dude, you're following me, you're chasing me, you're approaching me. Which that's what it felt like to me too. It's like I keep backing up. I'm telling you to back, and you keep on coming towards me and coming my way. So we do a little dance around the kitchen island. We do a little dance around the couch. We go in the sunroom. Like, and all of this is going on. And then when I was in the kitchen as well, I had noticed, like, oh, like, y'all got some knives on the counter. Like, I'm not about to, like, now I'm kind of scared. Like, if we want to talk about who's scared, now I'm kind of scared. So it gets to the point where, again, we're recording, and then he's at the point where I think he called the police first, because we both ended up calling the police, 2 separate calls, saying 2 completely different things. But I think he ended up calling the police first, and he's on the phone with the police, and he's like, because mind you, I was sitting in a chair, and it's like the entryway, not even entryway because it's not a door, but it's like a whole area from the kitchen into the living room. I put a chair in the corner. Exactly. Like, I put a chair in the corner. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here. You can call the police, whatever. Because I was confident. I'm like, I have my leasing agreements in hand.
Who are you, sir?
Right.
Who are you? What they going to do? Like, arrest me?
That is so crazy.
So yeah, so I'm sitting in that little corner, and even as he's on the phone with the officers, he's like, and she's got a gun, she's pointing it everywhere, and she's not letting us leave. And I'm like, and literally I have the point of view from my camera as well, and I'm on camera. I get up and I drag my chair. I'm like, are you serious? Like, nobody's blocking you from anywhere. You're lying on this phone.
How do you know about the gun, though?
No, you can see it. Like, I'm little. I have a Glock.
Concealed, but not that concealed, yeah.
Like, I'm wearing jeans. Like, you can wear as whatever pair of jeans you want, so you gonna see a Glock.
I have shorts on.
You gonna see it. So he saw that, and I ended up moving the chair, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And when I moved the chair, at some point we stand back up. And we're now near the sunroom, and now he's approaching me in the sunroom as well. So then we go in the sunroom, and now it's getting louder because he's really up on me. Like, your phone's in my face.
Was your friend with you, or is just
no? But she's staying by the door. Like,
she's recording all
exactly.
Of this. Okay,
she's recording all of this.
I'm building the case in my head right now. I'm like, you're good so far.
So then when we get to the sunroom, and we're getting into the sunroom, and now again she's at the front door. So when you get into the sunroom, now you lose vision of the when you get from the front door, you lose vision of the sunroom.
Okay.
So she didn't have that, but I still had it. So either way, once we get into the sunroom, again, like, you're still approaching me. Now you're trying to grab me, and then on top of that, your phone's all in my face.
Oh, no.
This is when I say, sir, I have a gun, and you still doing the same thing. So I pull my gun out, and it's facing towards the ground, and I say, sir, can you bag back? And that is, I put it back pretty quickly because he did bag back, of course. I put it back pretty quickly, but at that point, that is when I then called the police, and I let them know as well. I'm like, hey, like, I'm scared. He has a knife. This guy is in my apartment. I don't know who this is. He's trespassing. So again, 2 separate calls. So they
But I brought a gun to a knife fight.
Right.
So, but you got to think about how it sounds from a dispatcher. Though.
Right.
Like, same address, gun, knife. Oh, they sending
They're
the
like,
folks.
send everybody.
They sending the people. So I think maybe like 5 or 6 squad cars pulled up.
Yikes.
5 or 6 squad cars pulled up. And I'm fine. Like, now at this point, like, I'm back calm because I'm like, again, like, I got my leasing agreements in here. What they about? Like, I go down.
And I have like a track record of telling y'all this.
Fuck you guys.
It all made sense to me. So I go down.
Like, in my head, I'm like, you're good so far on this case. We'll talk later if you still need an attorney. But
So I go down and I greet the officers because I'm like, hey, y'all, like, yeah, this is my apartment.
Come get him.
I called you. And they got me.
oh no.
I'm just not understanding. They arrested you when you came. Okay. Because I'm waiting.
So they get there. I'm like, hey, officers. I'm explaining to them what happened. I'm like, yeah, like, I have 5 apartments within this building. I own a business. Like, they are here. They are supposed to be leaving officially today. They have told me that they are not leaving. I need them out. We have somebody coming. This is what it is. And they're like, okay, they grab the leasing agreements. And then we also say, me and my homegirl, we're like, we have video footage of whatever, you need to see of what he's doing. So they go upstairs, they speak to them, and they get their story. So then they come back.
Crocodile tears.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, the tears. Because then they told me, they're like, okay, well, stand right here in the stairwell. And I hear her, and she does it again. And she's like, I just can't.
They've watched a lot of CNN, a lot of American, just like, probably Twitter.
They're like, us white folks can do anything in America.
Anything. Just cry. Okay?
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. So then they come back downstairs and like, okay, let us see the video. So then they see the video and everything, because I'm not scared to show you the video. Like, again, I'm in the clear. Like, I have a license to carry. I let you know that, all of that. So they see the video, and I told you there were like 6 squad cars that showed up. So there were a number of officers there. There was one officer in particular, as they're watching the video. She's like, you pulled a gun out with a child there? Yeah, do you not see what's going on?
There's a grown man coming at me.
So at that point, that's pretty much what, like, she pretty much shifted everybody, because people, like, there were officers there that were like, oh yeah, like, this is, it's pretty quick, like, it's fine, we'll figure it out. She pretty much shifted the focus of everybody And I don't know if that was like because she had some type of superiority or whatever, but she shifted that focus, and she did seem older as well. But she shifted that focus, and it then turned into you pulled out a gun with a child there. And that is when they went back upstairs to speak to them a little bit, came back down and said, yeah, we're actually going to have to take you down to the precinct.
Child endangerment?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the
disorderly conduct? Their claim was I had time to de-escalate the situation.
So did he.
3 days after we been doing this for 3 days.
Exactly. And I'm like, I've called you all, like I've done this, I've done that. And on top of that, it's like it wasn't even just like, okay, disorderly conduct, here's your ticket. You're arresting me in front of my place where I pay the bills for 5 of these apartments in this building. Like, you're arresting me, you're putting me in the squad car, and you're taking me down to the precinct, and you're doing absolutely nothing related to that. Oh, that's a civil matter. This criminal matter you're talking about wouldn't even be here if that civil matter was handled. So that's what happened. We ended up going down to the precinct, and as the officer's cuffing me, he's like, "Oh, I like your nails."
They didn't take you right,
girl. I would have lost it.
Where did they take you? Fulton County Jail.
Yeah, Fulton
Not
County.
Rice Street. The other one. Okay,
yeah.
Thank God.
Right, and then on top, mind you, this is Friday.
Oh no!
How long you stay in jail?
Wait. There's a curve coming in here.
Wait.
Oh.
So
don't get arrested on Fridays, people. You'll be in there all weekend.
So again, ride down to the precinct. So the officer who was actually the one who complimented my nails, the nicest one basically was like, okay, I'll take her down to the precinct. I'm like, okay, whatever. You just think I'm cute, but I'm mad.
Right.
So he's trying to have conversation.
Stand up. Say something.
Right.
So he's trying to have conversation in the squad car. And honestly, I'm pissed. He's like, like I can tell that you're pretty upset right now, but
do not ask me for my number if you can't get me out of jail.
You for sure tried to holler. I can already tell you.
Get some balls and get me out of fucking jail, or do not try to get my number.
Body cam footage now.
Oh my God. And it's crazy.
Oh, turn around.
And honestly, I'm glad I'm telling, because you a lawyer. If you want to take up this case, let me know. I ain't got to tell the story again. So he takes me down to the precinct on the squad ride down. He's like talking, trying to make conversation, asking me about my life. He's like, I can tell you don't usually get into anything like this. Duh. So we get to the actual precinct, and we're in the car for a little bit. I don't know, like we were waiting on someone.
Were you handcuffed?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, handcuffed until we got to the precinct.
Pretty
I was
nails
handcuffed.
I know.
Yeah, and I'm like, damn.
That's crazy.
These pretty nails.
So we get there. He takes me out of the squad car. That's when he's like, okay, I think I can uncuff you now. I don't think you're going anywhere. He's like, just keep your hands behind your back. I'm like,
that's what you think.
So I'm like, okay. So we go in, and of course, like they have like the holding room, which is the glass, and then you see like where you get your picture taken and the prints and all of that. So I'm in there and I'm waiting, and I guess like he had the officers, when you get there, like you have to communicate with the jail staff, and they have to hand them the charges and all of this extra stuff. So the jail staff is taking a while. Like, we were in there for maybe like 15
minutes. In Atlanta? No way.
Jail staff was taking forever. And somebody else, while I was in the holding room as well, some other guy came in, and he seemed like pretty all right. He was dressed kind of like he was a contractor, a painter or something. I don't know why he was there. But either way, he ended up getting his photo done and everything before me.
His photo done. Like, we're having Hollywood photo shots or something right now.
What is it called? A mugshot. So he got his mugshot before me. So then, I guess
Hollywood shots. That was a Clayco reference, if anybody remembers.
And I was ready, because I was actually cute that day. So I'm like, okay, if it's gonna be any
if I'm going to jail,
put my lip gloss on. Hold on.
I was cute, like, and I hadn't cried yet. So I'm like, okay, like, ain't nothing too crazy. Like, this gonna be a decent photo. So he gets his photo taken, and then I guess at this point the officer who had arrested me and brought me down, he's not getting impatient, but he's wondering what's taking so long, because I'm in there and I'm like, what's taking so long? Like, if we gonna do this, let's get it over with. So
right. If I'm gonna get arrested,
like, that's what I'm saying.
Arrest me.
Because I'm like, I'm about to bond out anyway. Like,
right. I can go.
So he ends up, I guess, like walkie-talkie phone and whatever, his sergeant, a different sergeant. I don't know if this was like a sergeant, sheriff, I don't know, whatever. But the sergeant who had arrived that Wednesday, I had told y'all, this wasn't the same one that arrived that Friday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this one arrived that Friday. He seemed like pretty all right, but he phones the sergeant and he's like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but we're down here at the precinct and I'm trying to get her booked. Sergeant then says, why are y'all down there? I thought you were just going to give her the ticket and let her go.
Yeah, they didn't have to arrest you on that. They could definitely have just given you the ticket.
So now I'm really mad.
Yeah.
Now I'm really mad. Because, and then...
If you just wanted me in your car...
Right. Because of these goddamn nails.
Yeah. If you just wanted to take me out...
Arrest them.
Just say that. Right.
So
they just wanted me in handcuffs. You just wanted me in handcuffs.
Exactly.
So the jail staff comes. There was like...
A lot.
Some communication between the officer and the jail staff, and the jail staff comes, and it's like, I don't remember too much of what was said, but I do remember her saying like, "Oh well, yeah, you got lucky,
girl."
That was my reaction. Like,
fantastic luck. I'm in the Fulton County Jail right now.
I'm like, this is not luck. I'm like,
and I have guests on the way.
Right.
That's what I'm worried about. Like, I haven't heard from them, and I'm gonna tell y'all how that turned out too. So either way, now I'm mad because now I'm not even supposed to be here. So she's like, yeah, so we're not gonna book you, but had I taken that photo, we would have had to keep you.
That's, it's not lucky, but you got lucky in that regard for sure. Because
that's what she was saying. She was like, you got lucky because if we took your picture,
it would have been in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just like, so either way, I had responded to her, and I'm like, it's not luck, but sure, thank you anyway. So we leave out, and then of course now I need a ride. So he's like, "Oh, you need a ride back to your place?" Yeah,
that you took me from, and my place that I own.
How many times has he done this?
I know.
So we going back, and he's trying to make chit chat, but now again, like I'm really pissed off, so I really don't want to say anything. It's just like, just drop me off,
I'll be like, mute, man.
Please, just drop me off. So they give me the ticket or whatever, drop me off. And then at that point, again, I got arrested. So I couldn't go back to the apartment. Like, I'm not about to go back there. And then...
And they like, she's back.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you start crying again and you telling, like, I don't know what lies because I don't like the fact that they separate the two parties to go and tell the story. Like, okay, well, we about to go listen to what they have to say. They have all of the freedom to just lie, which I'm pretty sure they did. And what I found out that they did as well, because when they went upstairs, the officers that Friday, they had asked them, they're like, okay, well, can you produce the document that shows that you're supposed to be staying until the 21st? And they didn't. Like, I guess they showed some type of Airbnb reservation, but
they didn't know how to read it.
Exactly. They don't know how, they don't even know what they're looking for.
Order that body cam footage. Easy to do. It's public record. You can see all the lies they're telling.
I got you, girl. I got you. You be nicer to my boy Ian. I'll take care of all of this.
I'm nice to Ian, but I ain't gonna lie. I'm real funny, so I ain't gonna lie on you and tell you funny.
Oh, it's
but I can teach you some jokes.
I ain't been that funny.
I can teach you some jokes. I can teach you some jokes. So yeah, that happened, and then I finally got back to my apartment. Those guests ended up staying until Monday actually, and when they left. They took
the crazy people stayed till Monday?
Not the goddamn Target items you paid for. Oh hell no!
Yeah, so
insult to injury.
They took that. They took a number. They took more items out of there, which I wasn't even really able to account for fully. But I just know for a fact they took
stole.
more items. Exactly,
right.
like they took things out that they were not supposed to take. And that was it. But that Saturday, so Thursday, I told y'all that I had let Airbnb know. Friday, I guess they had then contacted Airbnb before I could because I got arrested. Right? So they contacted Airbnb.
Be your one phone call.
So because I got arrested,
I think you're funny.
So I'm pretty positive they called and then told Airbnb a completely separate story because Airbnb
She's in jail.
Right.
She had a gun. She tried to kill us.
Give us all our money back and then $10,000 on top
for
of
the stress.
Treble damages.
Right.
Exactly. So by Saturday morning, I had received an email that my account was restricted. And that they were looking into the matter. And that's when I then followed up and I sent them everything. I had scanned copies of the police reports from Wednesday and Friday, everything, right? I sent the videos, all of it. By, I believe, maybe Sunday night, got an email, account is deleted. You are restricted from ever creating an account again. We've wiped our hands with it.
Life.
This is it. That's it. I tried to create another account after
that. Right, I was about to say, another email.
Different name, same address, found it again, switched the address a little bit, they connected it again.
That's me and Uber. I have been banned from Uber for life. I've tried different credit cards, different phone numbers, different everything.
Damn.
They're like, Maha.
Exactly.
No.
Bunker from Brussels.
I know.
Damn.
Son of a bitch.
Did you leave them a review?
But
She's
accounts
banned.
gone.
Oh, you can't even do that. I'll leave
The
one for
accounts
you.
and then
That was
what
going to
made
give you that one last sweet satisfaction. Like, oh, yeah, well,
exactly.
they are the worst people
One
ever.
star.
No, and what made it
Well,
even
Ian would have
worse.
co-hosted for you if you were nicer to him. But, you know, he is
I had a
co-host and
co-host. So
everything,
what?
but-
So how
Send me
found,
their people. I want to leave a review of them.
You can't. So even
let's go to Brussels. Let's go to fucking Brussels and stay in his Airbnb and stay for 2 months.
I'll steal all his.
Take all his
shit. I wish I could find it, but it's like you can't just browse people's profiles on Airbnb. So that's the piece. Exactly. And then typically, like, you're not even going to be able to see their last name until you actually officially book a place anyway.
I'm just so pro-revenge.
You can't, well, you're banned now, but, like, if we were to get on there.
We could find it.
And
I have another.
Oh, you know where? Are you? All right, girl. Okay, let's
go
to
Brussels.
Revenge. Let's go to Brussels.
But yes, so my account was
gone. Because it does connect guests with their like host profiles too, so you could see like those.
What made me the most mad is when I realized that they had deleted my account and not his. After seeing all of the videos and seeing everything that happened, and I literally like when I tell y'all, I have all of this in a Google Drive ready for a case. I mapped all of it out, timeline of events, numbered what happened. Like, this is what happened here. Here's how the original reservation was. This is the text messages, like everything. And it was just crazy that even after them seeing all of that, they were just like, yeah, no, that's it. And I tried to amend their decision, appeal their decision, not going. So that was...
Yeah, it was the gun.
Yeah.
Even though it was legal.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because it's just like... I can only imagine had I not had my weapon and that didn't necessarily deter him.
And what he would have done.
Happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was insane.
Yeah,
I tried to take it to court.
It depends on who the fuck it is carrying the gun, whether this is like gonna apply or not.
Exactly. So,
damn.
Yeah, now you don't. You already didn't need a license. You only needed a license to conceal it.
Yeah.
But you could walk around fucking waving a gun in the air with no license. Yeah. And it's totally legal.
It is crazy. I would have lost it.
Has that case
very stressful?
Is this still ongoing? Has it been resolved?
There is no case. Like I reached out to a number of different, I think like maybe 2 or 3 different lawyers regarding it, trying to get somebody to pick it up because I wanted to pursue something not only with Airbnb but with the guests and with APD because you weren't supposed to arrest me. Granted, you never booked me, but you were not supposed to arrest me. And then on top of that, I ended up being able to get a statement from the officer where he sent me an email and said, like, yes, that guest produced a faulty document. So even sending that to Airbnb and realizing, like, okay, you just really don't care.
They were buying a house here, so they live here somewhere now, right?
Who knows if that was even true?
That's true. But I was gonna say you could swear out a warrant against them and like put criminal
we don't
charges
even know their
them.
name. Forget they had a whole fake name.
I have his wife's name again because I made them sign that separate leasing document and he had to put somebody's name. He couldn't put
Part 3
his.
episode.
Right.
Could go. Episode.
Exactly.
He could get revenge.
Yeah.
They'll never expect it.
Y'all never expect it.
Definitely.
I'm with it. I have a very special set of skills.
I believe it. He could get revenge for real.
Was that a Taken reference?
Yeah, because of the Europe thing.
I got it.
Thank you. All right. Well.
Fancy. Damn, we made it through.
This is ongoing. This is
I mean, it's ongoing, but it's like, again, no lawyer.
So you're still banned. So are you just on other platforms now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm on other platforms, and then of course that definitely pushed me. Lit a real fire under me to get my own platform up and running. Well, not my own platform, but obviously my own website, so people can book with me directly.
Do you want to drop it in the comments and stuff?
Yeah.
What's your website? We can stay at your tiny house.
Yes, ATL Vacations.
Yeah, we're about to throw some people your way, like you did for us.
ATLvacations.com.
That's a great website, ATL Vacations.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's a good domain. So yeah, that's really.
And the other people can host on.
What happened with the disorderly conduct? Nothing still?
No, I have not heard.
It's just Atlanta Municipal Court, City of Atlanta?
No idea.
Also, no court date.
No court date. All I have is the one ticket that was given to me on that day, but I have received
from
nothing.
That arresting officer.
No.
Right.
He tried it though, but no.
He tried it.
As they do.
Yeah, so that is all I have. And one of the lawyers I had initially reached out to when I was trying to get this picked up, she's like, okay, well, you're gonna have to handle, like the criminal charges first and the disorderly stuff first before we handle this. So I'm like, okay, whatever, but never heard anything back. Another lawyer was like, okay, well, we really need to find like the premise of this case, and if we're gonna say, at least if you're going after Airbnb and all of that, and then the guest, and this was like racially motivated, like we're gonna need some hard evidence to say that it was racially motivated. Like, and it's like, well, no, he didn't call me a racial slur, but like...
You could say he did, but...
And that's what I'm saying. It's so insane. And at this point,
but
it's
even
just
regardless of whether it had anything to do with the race, it was just fucked up still.
Right.
But
exactly.
he skirted the line of legality, though. Like,
yeah.
And that's the premise. Like, whether or not, like,
and really with APD, all they like for the wrongful arrest claim, as long as they had probable cause. And hypothetically, that video could be probable cause for disorderly conduct because that's such a broad. Disorderly conduct is like anything. They could throw anything in there. So it's hard to have a case against them for that. But we could get the disorderly conduct dismissed for sure.
That's no
guarantees, but
I don't even know if it's on my record. I need to check.
We can look it up afterwards. I'll show you.
Yeah. So, but that is, that's it. That's the disorderly conduct thing. So we have not handled it. It has not been taken it has not been taken to court. I do have, like I said, I have all of the materials and everything just in case eventually some part of it can. Maybe not all parts can, but even if it's just one part.
Even if just like for the podcast.
Even if we just go to Brussels and fuck his shit up, let's do that.
What happened to the guest that was arriving?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
That'll be our final question.
So the guest that was arriving, so Airbnb had never let them know. Airbnb had never let them know, and mind you, so they had restricted my account, so I couldn't like do anything, but you still get the emails as a host, like, oh, somebody sent you a message. So she had sent the message like, hey, what's going on? Like, we can't get in, da-da-da. And mind you, it's like, well, of course you can't, like, I can't let you in nowhere. Like, I don't have anywhere to let you into.
Unless there's a Bressalonian living in there.
So then on top of that, wait, what was your question?
What happened to
her?
Oh, yes. So then I received the email after my account was like, I guess they restricted it, but it still exists, kind of. I don't know, because either way, a guest gets 2 weeks to write you a review. So even if she did,
oh my God.
Even if she didn't stay, even if they don't stay, they can still write a review. So I then get an email notification like 2 weeks later after I'm finally getting over it, and she like, this lady is a scammer. She took our money. Like, I don't even
meeting giving back their money.
I don't know.
You don't know, yeah.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know. So it's just so she like literally like completely like shit on me in the review.
She might be one of our future guests. And she didn't know right? All this happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, from her perspective, it probably sucks. She shows up to an Airbnb, nobody's responding, she can't check in.
You coming in from out of town for a big music festival, like, it's a lot.
She got her luggage. Damn.
That's what I'm saying. So it was unfortunate for her, but that is why I had let Airbnb know, and I specifically told them that I have a guest coming, and can you let them know? So it's just like, for hosts out there who like think that there's some protection that they're getting, there's none, and there's really no assistance either. Like, they really totally left me hanging.
I think we've had like 2 stories where Airbnb actually helped the hosts. All the rest of them, they're like, fuck you.
And one of those was earlier in this podcast, you.
Oh, yeah, actually.
Like, oh, yeah, Airbnb always looks it up until.
Yeah, damages, but like that. This was my first experience with a squatter in short-term rentals, and honestly, it was crazy. But so many people like, I was one of those folks who's like, nah, like, I got my stuff in order. Like, I got a minimum night stay. I don't even know why they have that if it doesn't prevent anything.
And what's so crazy is, it's my last statement. On the viral Twitter video, the young lady was like, I'm not going to go through Airbnb. I'm going to rent it out myself. And she got a squatter, and the lady refuses to leave. So she's in her living room recording her walking across her house. And she's like, you need to get out of my house. She's like, I ain't going nowhere. Right. And she goes to the kitchen and goes back to her room. And she's like, I didn't do Airbnb. And she's like, that's why everybody's like, that's why you should do Airbnb to avoid this.
It's not going to change anything. Like,
no.
Those laws are the laws.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even it, like, you could, like, people always say, like, oh, well, here's how you prevent a squatter. Like, you ask them about why they're coming and minimum night stay and book it through Airbnb. But none of that, there's no way to prevent somebody from squatting.
That stress, like, the little 3 and 4-year-olds.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah,
precious.
Content.
Yeah, we're happy that we get the story, but we're sorry that happened to you.
I know. Oh, I would have been so mad.
Wow.
Y'all was pissed for months.
But I think it's just pointing you, of course, in another direction.
Right. It's restructuring your business differently, and it's all going to work out.
He's still young.
Yeah. Right. You're 26.
So it's just pushing you in a different direction.
Well, we will talk about the legalities later, but thank you so much for coming back. That was a great story. We
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Insane. It seems to be insane B&B story.
Literally.
I know. And of course, again, your website, atlvacations.com, right?
Mm-hmm. And then if you ever want to like look up, because I talk about all of this openly on social and everything as well. So you can find all of the information on Airbnb Money's Instagram, and my YouTube as well has like videos diving into the stories and different details of it too.
Perfection.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank y'all for having me.
This has been another episode of Once Upon a BnB. This is Maha.
This is Anns.
I forgive you, Precious.
This is Precious and a little puppy. He been so good.
A little bit of Janet.
Bye, Ann. Bye, Precious.
Bye, y'all.